I'm still waiting for my new charger for the battery pack to arrive. So while I waited, I decided it's finally time to mount the screen into the lid. Now this screen is obviously smaller, which is a good thing. So I 3D printed these borders. My 3D printer isn't big enough to print the frame for the screen in one piece, so I'm printing it in 4 pieces. And they all, let's see, there you go. They just snap on, just like this. And they will fit in rather snug. Come on. There we go. Just like that. Let's zoom out a little bit so you can see the whole thing. There we go. I haven't printed out the bottom piece for 2 reasons. The hinge needs to attach there, and I haven't fully worked out how the hinge is going to work. I've got a good idea, but I need to do some tests first. And this needs to be mounted on the bottom. This has the power and the menu buttons for the LCD screen. Unfortunately, the idiots who designed this attached the cable to the top of it, and that cable is as high as the buttons, so that would stick through the panel. So I'm going to have to desolder it, flip it around, and resolder it to the back side to give me more room to mount this. And that gives me opportunity to finally use this tool that my parents gave me shortly after I graduated. It is a desoldering iron. You plug it in, you heat it up to melt the solder, and it has built in a solder sucker, so you don't have to use 2 tools to desolder. I can't wait to see if this works properly. So that was a pain in the butt. That tool would work great for taking a resistor off or something like that, but a multi-pin header like this, where there's a whole bunch of pins in a line and a lot of tension, not work so well. It took me quite a while to get that off using that tool and some other desoldering tools that I had. But I eventually got it off, and I soldered it on the back in the same orientation. Careful not to rotate it 90 degrees. And so now what I will do is I will carefully measure this with digital calipers, model it exactly in 123D design, and then use that to subtract that from the piece that goes there. That way it'll fit neatly right in this spot, right about center. And I'll even put a little hole and get some clear filament to plug that hole. I think I have a piece to use as a light tunnel for that LED. And after that, I still need to work on the hinge design. And I think I'll show you what I've come up with in a second. Alright, a standard hinge, something like this, that just rotates around, won't work with this unless I mount it to the outside of the case, like that. And I don't want the hinge to be seen. I want the uneducated eye to look at this system and think it is a normal Nintendo. So, if I were to mount it on the inside, I would need a way for this part to go up and down on the case so that the hinge can clear the corner. So what I've come up with is something like this. You have here, and you'll have some screws holding that, and they can slide up and down in there. And I can put some flexible filament, a thin flexible filament plate in there to give it some tension so it won't just fall down. And that way this part can be attached to the top, and then as it opens, slide up, and as it closes, slide down. Still working on the final design of that, and I'll do some more testing, but I think that will work. After carefully measuring the position of the buttons and the size of everything, and even the height of these solder points where the terminal attaches, I was able to model this. This is just a test print, but it snaps over perfectly, and even the pegs that hold it on the back line up. To hold this on, I'll probably just put some hot glue on the back. That way I can just cut the hot glue off and remove it if I need. And so now all I have to do is attach this when I model the bottom part. Attach it right about there and extend the holes for the buttons and the light tunnel all the way through the bottom part. I don't have time to do that now. If I want to get this video up by the end of the weekend, I've got to start editing. So I'll probably finish this bottom part and the hinge next time, and hopefully I'll have time to do some more stuff, because this is taking a lot of time to complete.